So of course now it's time to start part 2. So this is where we build the system as I export part 1 to my server. I'm going to immediately begin by installing the I/O shield. This case really doesn't like I/O shields too much, and neither do I. Alright, I think that is in. Went a bit smoother than I thought it would. I always have trouble with I/O shields in this case. From other cases that I've put I/O shields in, it doesn't seem as hard to do as I banged the motherboard against the case just now. So, actually, I just realized I'm missing a standoff right there. Right up top here by the fans. Might be important to have that in. I'm hoping this series turns out a lot better than my previous one did. The 775 gaming PC build. I just feel like that was really of pretty darn bad quality. So, I have a jar of screws here, so I'm going to just finish screwing in the board. And I think I'm going to go ahead and connect the hard drive and optical drive as well quickly once I finish doing this. And I don't think my little blue cable will reach down to the bottom, so I'm gonna pull out a longer blue SATA cable and use it, I think, and that'll allow me to use the cable management holes as well for that blue connector. So an interesting thing about this board is it needs 10 screws and 10 standoffs as opposed to the typical ATX9. So hopefully I have enough screws. I may not, but nothing horrible if I don't screw in all 10 screws, or at least I don't think it's anything horrible. And now, of course, for the last screw. And the motherboard is installed. Okay, I'm gonna plug in the back fan as well. And then just kind of tuck the cables by the little heatsink there, and then also I will plug in my other fan and actually let me get a better camera angle for the I/O, the front I/O. So front power reset and buttons as I kind of move the camera by accident. Let me adjust that so it's a bit more zoomed in, or a bit more kind of focused on the area. So unfortunately, can barely see what I'm doing here because the camera's in the way. So that's always good. And my camera, or my hand's probably blocking the shot as well. I'm sure you can hear that I'm like right next to the microphone. So now, even though I have glasses, I still can't see what I'm doing. Move my leg around the tripod as well and plug in the front fan. So it's quite a tight fit. And also I'll throw in the speaker as well. So that's the little case BIOS speaker. And I will just kind of pull all of these through. So something you'll notice is the reset button wire or the reset button header is off to the side there. That's just something about this case. I don't know why it's designed that way, but it just is. So then you can see the front USB. So I'll go ahead and plug that in. And front audio, which didn't feel right when I plugged that in. So hopefully nothing's bent. Something did look a little bit bent. And of course my camera's gonna do that, isn't it? My tripod is literally, it like can't support the camera at all. So and there's no autofocus except for when I hit that button, which takes the camera like 10 hours to do. So I'll go ahead and plug in my USB 3 for the front, and that gives me a nice little header to dangle down everywhere. And it's too short to run behind here. Actually, you know what? Let me see. Yes, very good. A little cable tie. Quite big on the camera. Sarah. Yes, there it is. Good. So I can just go ahead and tie that header up back here. Getting kind of hungry right now, so hopefully can get this build over with soon. But there you go, just tie it off. So that is it for the front I/O. So I guess now I think I'm gonna do the storage now. So of course, like I said in the video of the case, or in the parts video, I'm going to remove these two bays to allow for better airflow to the inside of the case. And on this first tray, I'm going to put in my 160 gig drive. And kind of slot that in. Nope. So the way I have the hard drive stacked like this will allow for good cooling across the drives and a lot of airflow across them as well. And this cable tie prevents the drive from locking in properly, but oh well. And then, of course, the case. Ooh, nice lens flare. Nice, that's pretty good. That's actually genuine. So, sorry about that if that's annoying as well. So, of course, optical drive bay has toolless mounts. So I just kind of slop it in and close it, and locks into place, and all is sorted. So now it is time to run the SATA cables everywhere. Actually, I just had a good idea. This is probably going to interfere with my graphics card. No, that's not going to work. So I will actually go around to the back of the system. Actually, no, I won't. Let's see. These are the first SATA connectors on the board right here, so I'll plug it into 1 and 2. And then also let me run downstairs and grab my other, actually you guys can't see what I'm doing. So I will go downstairs and grab my other cable and be back. So now it's time to add the storage. So, oh, nice lens flare. Sorry about that if that's annoying, but that actually looks pretty cool. So of course, like I said, now it's time to add the storage. So in the previous part of this series, I said I would be removing drives 1 and 3, or bays 1 and 3, and putting in the drives in bays 2 and 4. So this will both allow for excellent drive cooling, because I'm getting air across the bottom and top of both drives, and it will allow maximum airflow to the back of the case. So all is well and sorted. So those are all in, and now for the optical drive. So of course it has a toolless design, so unlock it. And lock it again when the drive is in place. And now we'll wire up in front of it. So let me move the camera over a bit and you'll be able to see in there. So of course front I/O, kind of ugly how it goes across, but that's all I can do. I'm going to plug in my blue SATA connector. This is the larger SATA connector, and that'll just go in there, and I will run that through that bottom portion and run it out to down there, right there. There's another connector, or there's a little up-facing connector on the board. And also I will go ahead and slot in the SATA cables for the 2 hard drives, which are a nice black color. And they're also locking, so that's pretty cool. And I will go ahead and loop those through this very messy cable management, this very, I guess I should say, very much utilized cable management hole. So I will meet you around back to finish installing the drives. So of course down here we have the drives. So quickly I will just slot in the curved SATA cable right there and connect the other SATA right there, and all is well. So now we have the data connection to the drives, and let me think. I guess now I'll add in the power supply. So like I said, this is a sort of modular power supply. And when I say that, I mean you can see there's all these little connectors that hang off of it inside the case, which I don't mind at all, but just thought I'd mention it. So presuming that everything else in this system was or is from 2011, I'm thinking that this power supply is also from 2011. So that would mean it's fairly old, for a power supply at least. It makes some bad noises like coil whine, but that probably isn't the best thing, I'd imagine. So hopefully it doesn't like blow out on me under a rather high load. You know what? I can't screw in the last case screw. That's weird. Maybe that'll sort it. I think I got it now. Come on. You know, it's always on video that this stuff happens, isn't it? There we go, finally. Just tighten everything up as well. So there we go. Power supply is installed. Now I will go ahead and pan up to this area and loop the CPU, or the, not CPU, the ATX power 20+4 pin through the cable management. Sorry if you can hear my Mac Pro. The fans are revved up because I'm exporting, like I said earlier. Or at least I think I said it earlier. And my head just probably blocked the shot again just now. So pinch those two together, and sorry about my head once again. And I'll just push that into its connector on the board. So there is our CPU, or the ATX power plugged in, and this is the CPU power. It won't reach to the back of the board, so I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in as is and sort of loop it down and around where the graphics card would go. So that's it for that. You guys probably can't, you guys couldn't see me plug it in, it's just plugged in up top. So now I will go ahead and plug in the hard drives and fans. So of course back down here, like I said, we have little peripheral connectors and stuff. So here's the SATA for the power supply. And I'll go ahead and plug that in and loop it through the back, as I realize that the optical drive, that's a heavy case now, will not be powered just yet because I don't have the appropriate connector. I need to procure another one of these SATA connectors from downstairs before I decide, or before I end up needing to use the optical drive. So that'll be great once I get one of those. So now there's that. And just quickly, I am going to pan up. Sorry about how blurry it is. It's only going to be for a few seconds. Or maybe not. Or maybe. So that's, of course, for the top fans. The top fans and the Raidmax fan down there. So I have that wired up. You can see here that I have it wired, the top fans, to go to the 12 volt, or to run on 5 volts, because they're extremely loud at 12 volts, and if this is going to be next to my desk, I'd like to have it a bit quieter. I need to find some quiet blue fans, because these are not the quietest of them. So down here, zoom in, find another peripheral connector and plug in my fans and just kind of loop that to the back. So, of course, that is it for the power except for the graphics card. And I meant to kind of hold off on that for a reason. So, graphics card. Radeon HD5830. I'm going to be plugging it in outside of the case for ease of use. And hold on. So now I will just be taking this and looping it through the back. And I'm gonna pull out that tab. Oh, jeez. And slot in the card. Pull back that tab and screw it in with the case screws. So now you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Hold on. Where did that screw go? As my head blocks the shot. You know what? So anyway, of course, I was screwing in the graphics card and the screw falls into the power supply. So what happens next? I go to find it and I use a magnetic screwdriver. So better yet, I'm poking around in a power supply with a metal tool that I'm holding in my hand. So then, I go to remove the graphics card so I can get my head closer, and I pull back the tab and somehow it breaks off the motherboard. So that's broken. And then what else went wrong? Oh yeah, power supply fan. I couldn't get the screw past the power supply grill, so I just unscrewed 2 screws, bent it, fiddled around it with my magnetic screwdriver, pulled out the screw, and there you go, I recovered it. So okay, I'm going to put a microfiber cloth on the fan grill just to prevent any bad luck from happening again. It's true, I do have the worst luck. So I'll just go for that again. Let me plug in the graphics card off camera. Loop it through again. This time, for no good reason, I can't lock the card in place, which is absolutely great considering the fact that if I go to plug anything in now, it's gonna just push the card out of its PCI slot, or PCIe slot. All because the stupid case is just a tiny bit bent. Anyway. this point I just want a nice gaming computer. So I'm pretty pissed right now, but anyway. Let me loop graphics card through down here. You guys probably can't see. And at this point I can't either. And I will just go ahead and plug it in like that. Okay, good, so all the wiring is kind of done. So I'm also just gonna plug in the optical drive when I'm done with the video at this point. So I think now it is indeed time to test it. So let me zoom way out and plug it in, move the camera back further, turn on the power supply. Nothing's sparking yet. And hit the power button. So you can hear it's rather loud, especially with that fan up there going. But looks pretty nice. I think the color scheme is pretty balanced between the two colors. And this Raidmax fan moves a ton of air, and it's not loud either. So of course, if we do look up there, you can see I have this fan blowing air down, this fan blowing air up. Graphics card fan is indeed running. So I think it is time to see if she posts. Which I don't know why I didn't plug in everything earlier. Of course. Here's my friggin' USB cable. Has to get itself stuck under the leg of my desk. See, it's little things like that that always happen to me. You know, I'm like always the first one to get stuck by traffic lights and everything. So, anyway. And I don't mean like I get stuck by traffic lights. I mean, I'm the first one to get cut off by it every single time. Anyway, go ahead and switch over. KVM switch, Mac Pro turns on because it doesn't really like being unplugged like that. I'll zoom out and turn it on. Good, good, very good. So that's going to be it for this video. Part 3 will be next, and that is where we install Windows 7 on this computer. Actually, never mind. Alright, see you in part 3.